Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa Parks. I'm one of the co-founders of the Lit community. And today I'm with one of our members, Mila, who is going to tell us a little bit about her location independent journey and her experience here in the Lit community. Mila, it's so nice for you to meet with me today. It's really great for us to connect, even though we're in totally different parts of the world. Can
Hello,
you,
it's very nice to see you today.
yeah, can you introduce us and tell us a little bit about yourself and your work as a location independent therapist?
I'm Dr. Mila Petkova. I started my vocation independent practice more than 5 years ago. It was a real journey. It's an interesting experience. I have bachelor's degree in clinical social work, master's and PhD in psychoanalysis and cultural philosophy, and Lacanian psychoanalytical for your education from Barcelona. And at some point in my life, I decided that I want to be independent of my location, my country. I wanted to travel. I already traveled the world during my years in the university. I was studying in Madrid, working in Bulgaria, where I am from. And I really wanted to go back to Spain, but not to restrict my options to Spain. Back then, I wasn't very sure about it because I was thinking I was crazy. It's long before Corona, long before we were actually so used to have um, consultations.
It was a really, yeah, it was kind of a strange thing for therapists to be doing at that time.
Yeah, it was very strange. Nobody else was doing it, and I'm I wasn't feeling like a pioneer. I was feeling like a crazy person back then.
Okay.
Somebody
Yeah, it
who
does sound like
invents.
you were a pioneer though. You led the way for a lot of other people to believe it's possible.
Yeah, I'm trying to help others as well to set their practices and feel comfortable with their practice because it was a difficult decision and it was also um, very anxiety ridden decision because it was my first private practice. I uh, didn't work in an office. I started online right after my um, education finished.
Okay. Was there anything that helped you to kind of get out of that mindset of this is too wild. I shouldn't do this. Anything that helped you to take the plunge?
Well, the first step was that I already worked in IT and I was contract manager for a tech company for many years, and I was used to work internationally, so it wasn't a new thing for me. I was on the phone with Mexico, Canada, US. I went UK every day, so it was easy for me to make a transition from the style of work that I was already used to on the road working for different countries to what I actually wanted to do and what I was trying to build mm, consulting practice. And I just had to take the leap and say, okay, my knowledge of time management, my knowledge of communicating online can be translated to therapy.
Okay. Yeah, that really, it sounds like that really helped. That can be intimidating, I think, for some people to think about working across country lines or working entirely online. Mila, what about your clients? Do you have like like an ideal client or a niche that you work with?
It's difficult to say because I have very diverse clients, and psychoanalysis is so rich. It's I, in my opinion, of course, but it's one of the best options for a person to get to know themselves. Um, it's less commonly used for acute and very specific problems, but usually for people who just feel horrible and they have no idea where to begin with and what is wrong with them. Most of the people I see have a very successful lives, and they don't feel like uh, they've made it. They don't feel that their internal world matches the external one. So um, having in mind that this could happen to everybody, mm, I don't restrict myself, but initially I did start working a lot with engineers and other administrators in the tech sector because they were the ones who adopted the view of seeing their therapist online. It
Yeah.
wasn't weird for them because they were in the same situation. Now we understand that a little bit better, and we have more. Um, we're better acquainted with this type of communication. So
Yeah. Okay, but that was a nice way to start with these clients because they were comfortable also being working online.
exactly, and I was comfortable working with people who are comfortable. If they had any um,
Yeah.
hesitation, I have perfectly well trained colleagues back in Bulgaria, or I could reach for colleagues around the world to recommend. So and that's how it needed to be consensual from the both parts, and it
Yeah.
embraced by them, and this made it easier for me.
Great. Great. Well, what about the location independent piece? What is that? I know you talked about kind of why you wanted to start being location independent. Um, do you have any kind of dreams and hopes for what you'll do with your location independent business now that hopefully we're kind of in COVID times still, but when we get back to normal, any place you want to take your business?
Oh, I travel a lot. Right now, new home base is Belgium, but I don't know where I will be in 2 or 3 more years. I don't want to feel that I know. Initially, I had the dream to be a digital nomad, but then um, I figured out that I really want to have a home base and travel to all the beautiful destinations and maybe iterate the home base. So the previous year, for several years, my home base was nearby Barcelona, and I was also traveling a lot to my home country, Bulgaria, where I, I really would love to stay more than just a couple weeks per year. I want to spend time, significant time there with friends, and we'll explore more.
Yeah, I think this kind of work is it's so ideal if you have family or friends or just kind of your heart in another country too. You can have multiple home bases. It's really opens up the doors for that.
Oh, this is the dream. If I can make
Yeah.
the world my home, that would really be awesome. At this point, I'm super comfortable anywhere around Europe, and I hope that after COVID, I will um, feel that my trips to Asia and America are less exotic, but more of a home to me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it sounds like yeah, we'll have to check back with you after life gets back to normal and see where the exciting new places you've been. But I do want to check in also in this interview and just hear a little bit about your experience in the lit community. How has that helped you on your location independent journey?
As I said, I was very, very focused on the ethical part, like not doing
Yeah.
that I'm just jumping into it because I feel like it. I wanted to share the experience, just pick the brains of other people who do that. It's difficult when I'm one of the first. Well, I wouldn't say one of the first. Eventually, I met people who work like that for 10 or 15 years on the phone, which was not that rare once you dive in. But in the lead community, I could uh, start few ideas because it's not only about you and Sonia telling us what to do. It would be not an interesting experience, but like initiating our own ideas. So maybe I can, yeah, I can be a little narcissistic and say a bit about what I love to do. Well, I what I initiate. Well, I love to do everything. The book club is amazing. I didn't think before that I will have the time to read each and every one of the books, and now I actually do have. Uh, um, but what I initiated around the community was this supervision sessions that um, really keeps you in check with the colleagues. So intervision, supervision, absolutely fundamental for therapists. And in
Mhm.
community, I could find the right match for these sessions. So we can work in teams and um, brainstorm about our um, difficulties with clients, both in
Yeah.
psychoanalytical setting or psychotherapeutic eclectic style.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so glad that you shared that you initiated this because this has been such a hit in the lit community. It's something our members love so much. So we're
And
not just
others
talking.
started doing it as well
Yeah.
for for different languages or for different
Mhm.
types of work. Like I don't want to take the credit that much, but
You
it
planted
really
a seed there.
uh, and lead community, the community made it possible because
Yeah.
people are very focused on taking the best of it. Uh,
Yeah. Well,
um,
and Mila, you also started, I mean, you really have, yeah, this is one of the things we wanted in the community was for people to be able to kind of make it their own and do their own events and ask us for things that were missing. And you also, you found kind of something that was missing too, which is the lit talks. Can you tell us about the lit talks?
it follows a little bit well the very famous style of TED Talks, in which, well, 15 to 20-minute presentation is the best. Well, we have shorter and longer ones, of course, but somebody talks about a subject that's um, they don't have to prepare somebody is fluent in one subject, let's say type of therapy or working with a special demographics of clients or in a certain setting, and well, shares with the rest of us and we can ask questions. um, I think that this is absolutely fundamental for networking, to be able to pick the brains of others. uh, this is the best. um, I was very warmly before the community. uh, when you work in a hospital setting, you have all the colleagues who know your work, and you exchange ideas. And not only in vocation independent private practices, but in a private practice in general, this is a very warm work. And well, we're not alone anymore.
Yeah, it is. I say that in the lit community, we have colleagues, right? And we have colleagues around the world with lots of diverse backgrounds to share too. Mila, we're going to have to wrap up for today. There's so much more I know that we could talk about, and I know you and I, we already talked before this interview to catch up, because it had been a while since we saw each other. But I'm so glad that you were here today and able to share a little glimpse of your life as a location independent therapist with us. Can you tell anybody who's watching where they can find you, the website or social media?
Oh, they can find my website. It is easy. It's mipsy.net,
Right.
mipsy.net, and all my social media links are there. Or just Googling Dr. Mila Petkova will probably pop up at some of the social networks like LinkedIn and Facebook.
Great. Okay, we'll include all of that in the description. So underneath this video, it'll also be there for people to click on. Mila, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, thanks. Bye, everyone.